At 9:20 on Monday morning, the report lands in his queue with the template already attached, and within minutes he asks where it is. An hour later, he wants to know what information belongs in the report, though last month's version is in the shared folder. By early afternoon, he is asking whether the figures should be percentages or totals. At 4:40, with the deadline an hour out, he mentions that he has been waiting for clarification and has barely started. So the dependable colleague sets their own work aside, rebuilds the figures in the report, and submits it 8 minutes before the deadline. The next morning, the manager looks around the room and says, "Great teamwork, everyone." One person created the emergency, another absorbed it. The organization filed the result under collaboration. Some coworkers never say the words, "I refuse to do this." They make helping them so slow and so draining that finishing the work yourself starts to feel like the reasonable choice. Confusion by itself is not the problem. Everyone is confused when the work is new. A dependency pattern is different. The same questions return the following week. Every answer breeds another, and the person will not commit to a recommendation of their own. The help stops building capacity and becomes a transfer of the task itself. A genuine learner borrows knowledge and returns with more of it. The other pattern borrows your judgment, your time, and finally the ownership of the work. The same coworker who cannot locate a template navigates the leave system without a single question. The fog rolls in only over the tedious, the risky, and the low-status work, and often arrives wrapped in praise. You are better at this, and it will only take 5 minutes. The compliment converts your competence into unpaid labor while making the exchange feel like recognition. A question can smuggle the whole task across. Listen to the difference. The first, "I checked the guide and last month's report, but they use different reporting dates, so which one applies?" That has a floor of work underneath it. The second, "What am I supposed to do?" Then, "How should I start? What would you write?" Answer all of them and you have reopened the assignment, made the decisions, and inspected the output. Somewhere in that sequence, you stopped answering questions and started performing the assignment inside your own head while someone else held the title to it. This is question laundering, the transfer of judgment made to look like an innocent request for help. Eventually, the notification itself irritates you. The question looks small, but answering it reopens work you were never given. There is also the version where nothing happens. Uncertainty becomes permission to stop. He does not check the folder, finish the sections he understands, or send one precise question. He waits. Later, the waiting comes back to you as your fault. "I couldn't move forward because I was waiting on you." His choice to sit still has been rewritten as your failure to respond. Confusion revealed Monday morning is a manageable training issue. The same confusion at 4:40 is an emergency, and now you choose between letting the deliverable fail and rescuing it yourself. His delay is what creates the emergency. Your reliability is what turns you into the emergency service. Sometimes the handoff comes with a token attempt attached. He submits something incomplete or careless, one that takes longer to repair than to redo, and that becomes his cover. He can say he tried. Meanwhile, you verify the numbers, rewrite the weak sections, and put your name on the final quality. Call it the correction tax. One person is credited for participating, another pays for making the work usable. When anyone later asks why it went sideways, the language goes soft. "I thought we were still discussing it. Nobody confirmed the final direction." A clean failure of ownership becomes a shared communication problem. And every earlier question now reads as evidence the assignment was still unsettled, so the conversations that transferred the work also blur who owned it. None of this shames the person who keeps stepping in. The incentives are built to trap you. The deadline hits the responsible person first. You care about the client and your own name on the work. Redoing it looks faster than explaining it a fourth time, and you do not want to be called territorial or difficult. Research by Williams and Corral found that, under certain group conditions, people may work harder when they expect a teammate to contribute less, and that instinct is exactly what gets harvested. Every rescue teaches 2 lessons. The coworker learns that stalling produces takeover. Management learns that the current staffing works fine. The bill lands on you in ways your title never mentions. You become the team's unofficial trainer, proofreader, project manager, quality controller, and emergency replacement, none of it written into your workload or your review. The interruptions cost real time because the mind pays a tax each time it is pulled off one task onto another. The unreliable employee gets fewer demanding projects because no one trusts him. You get more because everyone trusts you. And because your hours go to rescuing others, your own work slips, and you can look scattered while the coworker you cover stays protected. Before deciding this is the pattern, run the fairness check. Real difficulty has real sources: poor onboarding, contradictory instructions, missing access, a genuinely new task, an accessibility need, or a manager who never defined who owns the decision. A 2026 meta-analysis covering 515 studies and nearly 788,000 participants found role ambiguity consistently associated with harmful employee and organizational outcomes. The diagnostic question has nothing to do with intent. It is whether support produces a person who needs less of it over time, or whether every round resets to the same starting point. Real confusion moves toward clarity. A rewarded dependency keeps resetting itself. The response is to redesign the interaction. Before you supply an answer, ask what he has checked, what he has tried, and what he thinks the next step should be. That forces effort and judgment back into the conversation. When he says he is stuck, ask what specifically prevents him from progressing, which separates a real blocker from avoidance. Clarify the requirement while keeping ownership where it belongs. I can clarify the requirement, but you remain the owner of this deliverable. Hand back the controls. The objective is X. Choose the approach, finish the draft, and send it to me by 3. Batch the rest. Collect your non-urgent questions and send them together before 11. Then confirm the deliverable, owner, and deadline in writing so uncertainty cannot reappear once the work is late. And when a rescue would cost you, make that cost visible to whoever assigns the work. I can finish this report, but it delays the budget analysis you gave me, so which should I reprioritize? If it ever has to escalate, escalate with a record instead of an adjective. Not "he's lazy," which management can wave away, but something it cannot. Over the last 4 reporting cycles, I was asked to complete or substantially repair work assigned to him, and that is delaying my own deliverables. I need clearer ownership, a training plan, and an escalation path for missed deadlines. Keep it factual so it reads as evidence and ownership cannot be rewritten after the deadline. One caution: if the work touches safety, legal compliance, or real customer harm, do not let it fail to make a point. Make the boundary visible and manage the risk anyway. Go back to Monday's report. Your mistake had nothing to do with answering one question. The damage came from letting each answer nudge ownership closer until the whole deliverable sat on your desk while the title still carried his name. You do not have to prove the confusion was fake. You only have to stop letting it erase ownership. His most powerful sentence was never "I won't do it." It was "I don't understand." Repeat it until your standards and your deadline did the work for him. Help is supposed to make a coworker more capable. If your help keeps making you more responsible instead, you have stopped teaching them. You are carrying them. If you recognize this pattern but struggle to find the words in the moment, the Workplace Response Kit gives you practical language for holding the boundary without sounding hostile or uncooperative. The link is in the description.